Hello my crafty friends, it's Jo. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. I am playing with some cards today. I'm making 4 of them. I'm using 49 marker Rubons and I'm trying to get a mixed media look that is still relatively clean without getting my fingers dirty. So for this first card, I'm using my Distress Oxide inks. I have Peacock Feathers, Salvage Patina and Faded Jeans. And I'm just inking up this stamp here with 3 of the colors. And then I'm going to use a dauber and just blend them out together before I stamp them on my card. So the stamp set that I'm using is by Altenew. It is called Splash of Color, I think. It is probably a couple of years old now, but I do have one available in my store if you're interested. So you can see there, that's what the stamp looks like. And now I'm going to come in with these Rubons. So these are the beautiful 49 marker Rubons. If you haven't tried these Rubons are beautiful. They are not like the Rubons of years ago where they break and crack. These are lovely. So I've cut them apart into 4 sections. So I want them as my focal point. And I'm just playing here just to see which one I want to use. So now I'm just rubbing the image with a bone folder. And you want to make sure that you get all the little bits and pieces. There's lots of little watermarks and paint splatters on these Rubons. So I want to make sure that I get all of them. I start to peel the top layer off and just making sure that it is all stuck down properly. And that's my first panel done. So I'm matting it now onto some cardstock. Coloured cardstock. I was a little unsure what colours to use. I've got a couple of colours here. I've got the Peacock and I also have, what's the other one called? The other one is called Tide Pool and they are Concord and Ninth cardstocks. So I'm going to give it just a small mat on the Tide Pool cardstock. And then I'm going to use the Peacock for my card base. So trying something a little bit different too, using coloured cardstock for my card panels. Normally I'm always using white, but I kind of like the contrast in these colours. That Peacock is really nice up against that Tide Pool coloured cardstock, and they go perfectly with the Rubons. So I've got my sentiments here. I did go through a few, but I decided to keep it simple, and I'm just using one of the strips from the Uniquely Creative cut aparts. I wasn't sure first whether I was going to go with the black or the white, and I settled on the white for all of my cards today. I felt like it kept the card a little bit light and bright. The black kind of looked a little bit heavy. So I'm just adding some foam tape to the back, and that's my first card done. Super quick, super easy. So I'm onto my second card now, and again I'm using that stamp. This time I'm just using the 2 colors. I'm just using the, I think is it Peacock Feathers. It's evergreen bough that I'm using, sorry. Evergreen bough and Peacock Feathers. This time I've spritzed it just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a more like a washed look. So you don't want to put too much water on it, otherwise it starts to run away, and I didn't want that. I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to control where the colour's going to go. So I was thinking of coming back in with another stamp, but I decided that I would use this one again and I'm using a different color, and I'm just rotating the stamp just to make that background a little bit bigger. So I like being able to use the stamp like this with the water. I still get that mixed media look, but with a little bit more control. So I'm just making sure that that area there is nice and dry before I start and put my rub-on on. And this one here is probably a little bit hard to see. It's a lot easier to see in person once this is rubbed on. The same process again, just going over it with a bone folder. Again, you just want to make sure that it's nice and dry before you start rubbing. So I'm going to cut that down. I'm using my Pink Fresh stitched rectangle dies, and also matting again on some more coloured cardstock. This one is the Tide Pool. I was unsure at first. I was going to just pop it on white, but I ended up matting that onto some of that green. Oh, I'm wrong. I've actually matted it onto the other cardstock, the peacock colour. I'm going to trim it down, and then I'm going to pop that straight onto my white card base. Got my sentiment there again. I stuck with the white, and that's card number 2 done. Moving on to card number 3. I tossed up. First I was going to just rub this straight onto that Tide Pool colour cardstock. I thought that might look nice, but I ended up going just with the white. It just looked a lot fresher, I should say. So I haven't done anything to this background, and this is probably one of my favorites actually. It just pops on the white. It just looks so fresh and mixed media-y, and it just isn't mixed media-y at all. There you go. That is so nice to use. So again, I'm going to use my dies to chop that down, the Pink Fresh nested stitched rectangle dies, and I'm going to pop that on another coloured card base. Actually really enjoying using the different coloured card bases. It's not something that I generally do. I never think to do it. I always just generally tend to just stick with the white card base. But it's amazing how it really changes the look of your card. So just another simple sentiment again for this one. And that is card number 3 done. Okay, lucky last. So this one here, I am just popping my mint tape along all 4 sides of my card panel. I just want to create a border. So I'm going to give that middle part some color, and I'm going to blend over some old paper, Distress Oxide ink, for my rub-on to sit on. I love this bit, peeling back the tape. Never fails, it's so crisp, it's just beautiful. So now I have the perfect spot to sit that last rub-on. So the pack of rub-ons, there's just the one sheet in them, but there's 4 images. So I actually got 4 cards out of this sheet. I did find as well, rubbing this onto the oxide ink, because my ink was actually quite, there was a good coverage of ink on my card, and I also think that I didn't quite let it dry long enough. I did have to push a little bit to get that rub-on on. Just took a little bit longer, that's all. I really should have waited until that ink had dried, and I think it would have gone on a little bit more smoothly for me. But I did have to work a little bit for this. So if you just pull back slightly like that, you can see whether it's going to tear, so you can pop the cover back down again and come back over. And there is the panel. So I'm going to trim that one down as well. I've got my sentiment first. So this one is going to go onto a card with the Tide Pool color. So I'm just taking 1/8 of an inch off of all of the 4 sides, so that my rectangle is still centered. And I'm going to pop that on my card. That's my last card done. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love for you to click the like button, consider subscribing. I'm going to leave you now with some photos of each card, and until next time, have a wonderful day, and I will chat to you soon. Bye for now.